Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. If I could have your attention, please. Please take your seats. MNPA members, members of the media industry, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. A very good afternoon to all of you. My name is Jeffrey Mann. I'm the MNPA Executive Committee and also a member of the Seminar Organizing Committee. By the way, my full time is in Singchu Daily. I will be your MC this afternoon. On behalf of the Malaysian Newspaper Publishers Association, I want to extend a very warm welcome to all of you and proud to announce that this is our second MNPA event for the year, a very timely topic, Malaysian Media Landscape Outlook 2016, Print Revenue Opportunities. It is so gratifying to see the hall packed with many familiar faces, friends from the media industry. Your kind presence today affirms our missions and goal to challenge and engage you to break through current thought patterns, allowing you to install new ideas and strategies to stay relevant to this geometrically evolving market landscape. Your presence today affirms you want to do better and to learn new strategies to do so. Let me assure you that you are in the right place to gather information, to enhance your knowledge, to assist you in your work environment. It is also very important at this time to acknowledge and thank our sponsors, our partners, MAA, MSA, 4S, and the ABC for their generous cash sponsorship, and of course our beverage sponsors, Guinness Anchor and Permani Sandilands. The blue water bottles you hold are sponsorship from Permani Sandilands. You have also been recognized in all our promotional materials, both print and online. Thank you, sponsors. Before we proceed to the seminar proper, please let me invite you to join us after the seminar to interact with members of the MNPA Executive Committee and the speaker over a sumptuous high tea specially prepared for you all. Without further delay, it is with special excitement that I'm pleased to welcome and introduce Mr. David Ho, our speakers of the day. David is one of Malaysia's top media specialists and trainer with more than 25 years of experience in advertising, marketing, and corporate management. This vast experience was acquired during his employment at full-service advertising agencies, media specialist agencies, and media owner, that is Red Berry Media Group. Eager to elevate industry standards through industry training and consultancy, David founded Navigator Asia Business in Berhad in 2013 to share his skills and experiences. This afternoon, David will share on the current outlook of media landscape in Malaysia and globally, which is still quite hazy. He will debunk the myth of newspaper publishing is a sunset industry with facts and insights from his recent 1-month-long research and thoughts. Please join me in inviting David on the stage. David?
Thank you. Very good afternoon to all of you. Yeah, thank you so much for coming in between the long weekend. My name is David Ho, and just want to tell a little bit story about how I fell into the advertising industry. At the age of 17, I have nowhere to go, and the only job that was available to me was the advertising agency. And I was lured to the glamour of advertising agency. It was tremendous because I get to do a lot of products, consumer products. I had to basically look in terms of helping clients to get their brand into the market so that consumers will buy them. So over the course of 26 years, I felt that I should come out and give back to the industry. So without further ado, I really excited. Eugene has given me a very tough topic, which is basically print revenue. I think all of us are very anxious in today's economic climate. And for some of you who are doing ad sales, you know how to get sales, right? That's tough. Right? But nonetheless, in all the haziness of the economic climate today, that I believe there is always a silver lining. Do you all agree? Yeah, if you bother to look hard, there is always a silver lining. So I'm coming from a perspective of a very much of an independent view to look in terms of the newspaper publishing industry, right? And I always believe that the newspaper companies, right, they are the most resilient entity. The first newspaper started in 1842 in Spain, right? And today it still exists. You're all still here, right? And the things that I believe we continue to persevere and evolve in times like this, we will find that silver lining. We will overcome the challenges, right? So, yep, Bill, can I have a lighting set up? Okay, people from the back, can you see? Can you hear me? Good, wonderful. All right, so I'm going to bring you the perspective of the media outlook for 2016, but I'm going to cover right out from 2014 to 2019, right? The media landscape from a perspective of global, Southeast Asia, and Malaysia, the land, the country that we love. Okay? So I'm going to bring you to United States because United States is a market that is so developed from a marketing and advertising point of view. There's a lot of references and learnings that we can draw from United States, right? And one of the things that changes the whole landscape, right, in 1972, in 1974 actually, right, was this barcode. Today we talk about data. You know, there's a lot of things about big data, right? That confuses us. What is big data all about? But when the introduction of barcode was done, was introduced on consumer products, right? It changes the whole landscape, all right? Consumer product goods manufacturers, right, no longer just produce products. They rely on retailers. So when barcode was introduced, it shifted the power from the manufacturer, the consumer product goods manufacturer, to the merchants, to the retailers. Because when they get this scanner, they scan your products, they know exactly what product SKUs are bought, right? They know the buying pattern of the consumers. So this makes the merchant very, very influential, right? And can anybody tell me which consumer product goods had the first barcode in 1974? It was actually found in Troy, Ohio. But can somebody tell me what was that consumer product that had the first barcode on the product? Anyone? Because there's a prize. It's not newspaper, it's consumer goods. Can somebody tell me? Sorry? Coke. Quite close. But anyway, just to reward you for trying to answer, who's the one to say Coke? Okay, like one. Here's Wrigley's for you. Share with everyone. Okay, so basically, the first product that ever had a barcode was Wrigley's Juice Fruit. Right? They had the first barcode here. In fact, it's a common site. It's a site that we don't even know. But do you know that Tesco, for example, Eon, all the major hypermarkets, they have details in terms of what products is being consumed. And that's the start of data analytics about big data. Because we need to know about data. We need to know about our readers. Because if we don't know our readers and we can't measure our readers, we can't value our readers. Because advertisers buys what? They buys the value of your readers, of your newspaper. So data is a very important focal point for us. Okay? Imagine this. Sorry, I got to say Star Wars because I'm having a Star Wars fever now. Can't wait for the Battlefront movie to come, right? And in 1980 in Canada, Star Wars, right, Lucasfilm had actually a merchandise which is chewing gum with cards, stickers, right? And imagine this, if they would have barcodes, then they will know, right? They will know who bought what and how often, which flavors, which stickers then to be more important to the consumers. So likewise, if you put that in perspective, if we put barcodes on newspapers, imagine what it could do. Food for thought, okay? So, as I mentioned, in 1980, the introduction of barcode, where infuses data to the merchants, like Walmart, Warnes, and Tesco, right, has basically given them the power and knowledge, right, in terms of who the consumers are. So no longer brands like Unilever, and this, by the way, is the old P&G logo, the man on the moon, right? And Kraft, they lose the part of where the knowledge about their consumers. And likewise with newspapers, the question is that, do you know your readers? Do you know who's reading? Or the information lies with your news vendor? Right? So that's very important for us to know that we need to understand our consumers, right, to data. And today technologies enables us as simple as barcode, QR scan, right? So all the activities, like for example, today, I mean, I'm a star reader, right? And that's the only newspaper I know how to read because I'm a banana. I can't speak Chinese, right? But the point here is that, Star has been us basically looking in terms of QR code. How can I look in terms of reading an articles and then move forward to a video on a portal? So that's kind of a seamless journey, right? And imagine this, you can track every QR code. So we need to start tracking our readers, right, with today's technology. So this is the first color TV, right, in 1954. It's called the City 100. Sounds a bit like CP3O, but, right? So this was the first TV, and the advent of TV provides the kind of free entertainment to a lot of people today. And today, you watch TV where? On your mobile phone. So when you look down, I know you are either watching TV, right, or playing Clash of the Clan. Right, so TV has been around, and likewise, it is shown in the recent Dentsu Aegis networks finding in terms of the global consumption, that television, right, still stood at 78% of global population. They still watch television. Don't mind the YouTubes, right? We always say that YouTube is taking over the television. Yes, right. I got 3 young boys. They are 12, 10, and 7. They watch YouTube. They don't even watch Astro. Really, right? But a large population in Malaysia still watch television, right? Look at the aspect of enjoy. It reaches, the other 30% of the suburbs, right? So we all live in Klang Valley, and many times we make judgment and form perception with people around us and just in Klang Valley. But Malaysia is bigger than Klang Valley, right? And why is advertisers only spending in the market centers? Why not spending in East Coast? Yeah, East Coast, for example, right? Aren't that potential? So we need to look at expansion. So back to television, 78% of the world global population still watch television. And next will be 66% of radio, 53% of internet, magazines 51%, and outdoor 42%, newspaper 37%. But don't be despaired right now, okay? Just because the number is low, right? But the point here is that, there are at least 1/3, more than 1/3 of the global population still reads newspaper, okay? So if you look at this IPTV, Internet Protocol television, right? Like, for example, your HIP TV, for example, right? So the thing is that it's not still very popular with consumers, right? In terms of content for IPTV itself, right, which the source is from Pricewaterhouse, Global Media Outlook. In a recent studies, it shows that content is the driving factor, right? Regardless of medium, content is the driving factor. You got good content, people consume it, regardless of media. Regardless of media. So we got to shift our minds from, say, we are a newspaper. So I want you to turn around to each other and say, we are not just newspaper. Okay, turn around, tell your neighbor, we are not just a newspaper. We are a newsmaker. Say it, come on. We are not just a news on paper. We are a news maker. You produce content. You produce content, right? Think about that. So let's not so be fixated about the medium. Whether it's digital or it's print or it's radio or it's television, it's immaterial. Because the consumer out there looks at content, right? To me, content is like food, huh? Right? It's like food. Hi, Margaret. So content is like food, right? If there's good food, we would travel to Tanjung Rambutan to have a food, or to Taipei, whatever. That's the same analogy. If newspaper company today produce good content, consumers will pay for it. They will consume it, irregardless. Right? So if you look in terms of satellite TV, Malaysia, right, has the highest consumption per capita. Right? If you look at that, but it's also reaching a saturation point. My own personal point of view, right, is that the saturation point will be at 62%. I know there's some financial analysis in this room. This will be a number that, right? So anyway, it will reach a saturation point. The question is, how much more can Astro, because satellite here represented in Malaysia is just Astro. We don't have another satellite pay TV. So in this case, Astro, how much more content do you have? More channels? The point of view is that can consumers even consume so much channels, right? And the point is that why is Astro really holding on to the EPL, the English Premier League? Why? Content. It doesn't matter whether it's Astro, IPTV, or newspapers. Medium today is secondary. The content that we have is primary, okay? So if you look at tablets is a tablet, right? But what does a tablet do? A tablet has content, right? I remember there was once my aunt who is basically what I classify as digital dinosaur. Okay? I'm not going to ask you to hands up who's digital dinosaur here. Yeah, but the fact of the matter, I met her in the Apple shop and she was buying an iPad mini. Huh? What do you do with the iPad mini? He says, I play Candy Crush. Candy Crush is a content. Right? Clash of the Clan is a content. MTV Asia recently did a survey amongst the teenagers, the millennials, right, around the world. And sad to say, in Malaysia, teenagers, they are the most bored people. How can that be? I look at my three sons. They're all busy with tuition, extracurriculum studies, right? But they're still bored. They're still bored. Why is that so? Aren't in Malaysia we have enough content? Or maybe we don't have content for them, right? I remember my son every Sunday, he will look forward to the comic strip. But you know what he told me? Comic strip. I don't want to name the newspaper lah. The comic strip still show Garfield. I see such Garfield is my generation. It's my generation, right? Garfield, right? Why not you show things like manga, animes? Those are more popular. Book publishers, I'm sure, Amma, you know this, right? Manga is really a popular genre. content again. Why can't we? Why can't we serve content that people want? And yet we complain people don't read our newspaper. Any editorial here? Okay, hopefully. Okay, from tablets. So tablet seems to be the most important thing right now to boost circulation. All right, I'm speaking from an outsider point of view. So the thing is that tablets is always bundled with subscription. Well, not only Malaysia does it. Sometimes I wonder, people buy the tablet or people buy the newspaper. Not sure. But I think I'm more inclined of buying the tablet. Right? So the fact of the matter is that, do really people read the e-paper? Yes, they do. Yeah? But food for thought, right? So in Australia itself, it's doing the same thing, right? Everyone is bundling the tablets with the newspapers. And the point here is that, it is paid. This is consumer money. This is consumer money. People pay, right? Subscribe, right? This is not advertising dollars. This is consumer dollar, right? And they give a lot of bundles in terms of magazines, free ebooks from HarperCollins, 6 months free television and movie streaming. Really good value, right? Really, really good value. If you work out the per issue copy, the cover page is really, really good value. And they believe that it's working for them. It's driving, circulation. So if you go back to US, right? Apple recently launched their iO9, right? And the thing is that they are making it friendly for news to be consumed, right, in the mobile phone, right? And iOS News, the app, is basically helping publishers, right, to reach the global market of about 40 million, right? And what they do is that they collect stories that consumers want to read. So you tag all the stories that you want to read, and from the top news source to the basic topics that you are interested in. Because there's so much content today. Consumers know the genre, but sometimes it's that they do not know where to find them, so they're using technologies, right, to help them. So how many of you have used Flipboard? Can I see your hands? Wonderful app, isn't it? So for those who have not used it, if you have an iPhone or iPad, go and download Flipboard. It changes the way you consume and read content, all right? So Apple has written their own version of Flipboard. And iOS also has worked with publishers. Today, we need to work with technology partners, right? Because there is a lot of iPhones in this market, right? In this market. They're signed up with more than 70 publishers, representing hundreds of titles. And UK and Australia, they're partner. Titles like BBC, News Corp, Telegraph, Guardians. And this is what's happening on a global front. And publishers now can apply a more richer experience of consuming news, right? Not just from a print perspective, but also available in a very rich experience when they put their content on the iPhone, right? Make it very interactive and very video-based. And Apple News can render content such as multimedia that users can even say, I like it, and share that in my Facebook. Because Facebook today is a major driver of news, right? We read a lot of news on our Facebook wall. People share, very easy, right? So having the shareability is very important. And Apple News recommend articles of interest based on what you have even previously read, right? The device is so smart that it tells the consumers, right, what you have read previously and suggests. In today's technology, there are a lot of suggested articles. You realize that when you read news on a mobile or a website, when you scroll down, there are suggested articles. There are engines right now suggesting what kind of articles that consumers might be interested. So utilize those type of technologies, right, in a news rendition. So if you look in terms of the other type of content that is very popular besides news, is basically consumer video. According to Pricewaterhouse Media Outlook, right, if you look in terms of consumptions of the video, it's rising by the rate of category average growth rate over the 5 years at 8%, right? If you look in terms of devices, PC is 6.7%, mobile is 8.6%, console, PS4 is making a comeback. How many of you owns a PS4 here? Wow. Right? Console is a big thing right now, right? With the connection of online today, you play FIFA with people from Middle East. There's so much interaction, and yet it provides a lot of distractions, right, to the media consumers, right? What you do, okay? So gaming is very important. So the gaming sales, these are actual numbers, right? That consumers actually buy video games. They buy video games, right? So in total itself, there's nearly about 69 billion US dollars in the market that the global consumers are buying video games. Huge, right? If you look at Asia Pacific itself, right, the total stands about 37 US billion, right? So much. That's what the media consumers are buying. They're buying games, right? Okay, how many of you can tell me the most popular mobile game today? And some of you probably have it in your phone. Anyone can tell me? And some of you are probably playing right now while listening. Who can tell me which is the most popular mobile game in Malaysia and also in the world? Clash? Candy Crush. Candy Crush passé already. Passé already. Those who are still playing Candy Crush, please upgrade. Who? Huh? Sorry, Ginny? The? Dota also old already, but I will just reward you for saying, all right, it's called Clash of the Clan. Oh. It's Clash of the Clan, right? And the thing is that the content is so addictive that today we have a society issue right now. People just can't get away from their game. They need to build the walls, they need to increase their weaponaries, they need to get a visit, they need to attack, they need to defend. It's so addictive. Well, the point here is that can newspaper provide a game review on this? Right? Gaming but content that people want. Right? While we are not a game producer, but we can do reviews of what is the latest, who is the best Clash of the Clan Malaysian player, right? So, and guess who makes a lot of money just playing games? PewDiePie. Have you heard this gentleman? He makes US 12 million a year. What he does? He plays games and upload it on YouTube. That's it. Google, who owns YouTube, recognized that whilst they are not a content provider or producer, they believe in user-generated content. Right? UGC. That's the short form of user-generated content. And it's very powerful. And Google pays these YouTubers for such content. Right? So there's a strong emphasis on content, because if you give content that the consumer wants, they will pay for it. They won't pay the celebrities who produce that content. Right? So, if you move on to basically newspapers, the very heart of why you are here and I'm here today, right? So let's look in terms of circulation. Is consumers buying the newspapers, right? Let's look at numbers from Pricewaterhouse, right? Globally, on average, is still in the region about 65 billion US. 65 billion US. Just now I showed you, right? Gaming, about close to 70 billion US. Right? So newspaper sales globally is not very far away. Yes, it looks trending down. But it's a trend over 5 years, people. A lot of people ask me, so when is newspaper going to go kaput? Not so soon. Not so soon. Right? You know, there's facts to show that sales is still a very much part of the consumer's life. Very much part of the life. It's just that the point here, for the next 5 years, we need to address the decline. Right? I've never seen any company as resilient as the newspaper entity. You guys have gone through ups and downs, economic, downturns and political, upheavals and all this. So it's tough, but you are survivors. .coms today come and go, right? They come and go. Do they have a fundamental in the business model? They don't, right? Case in point will be iProperty. Right? Those who have read iProperty knows that the valuation of nearly $500 million US, right, is based on potential sales for the next 12 months. Where is the fundamental? They have lost money every year, right? But yet, Rupert Murdoch from News Corp, still hedges his bet on iProperty. He has his reasons, right? But back to this, North America is flat, right? Middle East is declining. Asia Pacific is growing by 0.5%. We are still a developing nation, right, in this area. So people still consume newspapers. They still buy, okay? So if you look at circulations for, more in terms of comparisons, right, US, UK, US is a big market. US had recently turned the tide. During the internet comes from United States, the Google, the Facebooks, right? So the last 5 years in the early 2000s has really disrupted a lot of brick and mortar businesses like yourself, right? So New York Times, Washington Post, they had hard time. But now he has turned the tide. Even Sir Martin Sorrell is saying right now, right, that newspaper, right, is a medium that consumers can trust. Because the trust element is such an important element in the media consumption. So do you trust your mediums that provides you the news? Or do you trust the bloggers? Right? So if you look in terms of Malaysia, right, let me just go here. Malaysia is still growing at 3.6%. Right? And it's important for us to note that our birth rate is still increasing compared to Singapore. Singapore is reducing at negative 9.5%. Why? Because they're not making enough babies. Right? The lifeblood of a newspaper, besides the advertising revenue, is readership. You need to have big population to support the newspaper industry. You need to cultivate that readership, that literacy in terms of the language, basically cultivating the reading habit. I think that's very important, and this is something that I will urge the newspaper companies to do. Can we increase the literacy of our population? And we do, besides playing games like Clash of the Clan, read books, cultivate that, right? And that will contribute to the readership of your paper, all right? So if you look comparison in terms of circulation sales of print versus digital, right? So if you look in terms of the content, I'm sorry this is a bit blur, but I just want to put it side by side, right? So if you look at Malaysia itself, the circulation sales is increasing at 3.6%, the hard copy, right? And it's actually increasing at the level in terms of 2019 at a level of 620 million US, right? in comparison, a pale comparison to digital, right? Which is less than 20 million US, right? On my far right, even though it's growing at 9.5%. Okay, this is at the footnote that I want to say at this moment of time. Let us not be too gung-ho with percentages. With percentages, because percentages, if you look in terms of a base, is meaningless, right? 9.5% over what? Less than 20 million versus 3.6% growth, right? Over a base of 600 million US. So, newspaper print sales is not dying. Who says so? It's here to stay. Well, at least in Malaysia. And this is the fact, right? As I said just now, the newspaper companies are the most resilient lot. This was the first newspaper ever published in Spain in 1845, right? And evolves to e-paper, and today it will evolve to the iPad, right? So to think about it, you are actually still producing news. You're still producing content. It's just on the different devices, right? So, and we make the distribution of our news and content as easy, as accessible as possible to the consumers. As long as we do that and we provide content that they want, they will pay for it. So says Sir Martin Sorrell. Okay? So this is 1886 in Spain, right? This was the one in Indonesia, Compass, one of the most highly circulated newspaper. And this is the iPad version, which is like the Flipboard, which is going to make a lot of inroads in the way and changes the way people consume news. Right. Even Yahoo didn't want to lose the race of being in the news. So they started a couple of years ago, about 10 years ago, My Yahoo News. Who still subscribe to My Yahoo, or who has Yahoo account? Got a Yahoo account, also say no, don't have. Don't have. So passe, all right? At least must have Gmail account, right? Right? Or kind of thing. So anyway, this guy, Nick Aloysius, right? While he was still studying, right, in Oxford, right, he developed this iPhone app called Sumly, right? Sumly, which basically condensed a lot of web pages, right, into bullet points. And then he made 30 million US by selling it to Yahoo News. Sometimes I wonder whether I'm in the right business or not, right? You know, while he's still at school, he sold that. Because Yahoo recognizes that the way people consume news have changed. We live in a society that we are hard-pressed for time. Can we afford to read long articles? Maybe not on weekdays, but maybe on a Saturday. Right? So there's a difference between the dailies and the weekends, right? Right? So we need to follow. So on the weekdays, well, I like to think that nobody read long articles. So why do we have, like, you know, the lifestyle sections, for example? Can't we just have bullet point news, for example, save on the circulation for the other sections, right? So on the weekends, where people have more time to read, right? Let's look in terms of long articles, food for thought for the editorials, right? And this is the interface that Yahoo News Digest has. Well, they don't only give news by topics, but they also look in terms of what is basically the other informations that they need, traffics, weather, right? And all these are basically selected by the consumers themselves. Okay. So I spoke a lot about the consumers, right? Even being agnostics to devices. To them, if you can give them good content, they will consume those content, right? That is the fact. Right? If you look in terms of advertising, online advertising, right, in comparison to the broadcast, the TV, radio, and internet is still very, very insignificant. Very, very insignificant. And this is the data from Aegis Media 2014. If you look at in terms of Malaysia itself, right, the television stands at 1.4 million, right, compared to internet 44 million. So a lot of time, right, only a small amount of advertising spend is devoted on online advertising. And I think we as industry, we are barking at the wrong tree. Why are we chasing after online advertising revenue? Right? Yes, it's digital, no doubt. Right? But why are we still selling online ad banners, which is not making a significant growth? And later on, I will share with you real facts in terms of how popular are online ad banners. Okay? So, Sir Martin Sorrell, the chief of WPP, says that publishers cannot solely rely on digital advertising. They can't. Right? You have to get your mind around the fact that digital advertising is going to be less profitable. Why is that so? Because people in the digital economy do not believe in paying for stuff. But yet, they will pay things like upgrade of their avatar in Clash of the Clan. Right? They will pay a US $1, a US dollars $4.49. They will pay for a Spotify song for $1 US. They do that. You know the Malay saying, sikit-sikit jadi bukit lah. It's a lot. A lot. The microtransaction is a lot. So we got to look at the business model of how we sell our digital content. Right? Not to say that there is nobody will buy our content, but it's how we present to them, what kind of insights we know, the kind of content that they want. And they will pay. They will pay. All right? So knowing for the fact that digital advertising is going to be less profitable. So in our industry, we are, I have trained more than 1,005 ad salespeople over the last 2.5 years. Right? And there's always a strong tendency to sell print, because print gives more commission. Digital very hard to sell. And sometimes it says, hey, teacher, what is CTR? What is CPC? What is programmatic buy? Oh, tough, right? But I hope by the end of today, I will show you there is a way to sell digital. Okay? So, stay on, right? So if you look at the newspaper advertising revenue, why did Sir Martin Sorrell say you cannot rely on digital spend, on digital advertising revenue? Because if you look at over the last 10 years, from 2010 to 2019, that the growth is 7.1%, but it's still significantly much lower than print. Yes, print is sliding down. I think sometimes we are overreacting in terms of our print revenue decline. And we are barking at the wrong tree. We think that the digital advertising revenue is going to be the savior of the day. So well, I have a good news for you, it's not. Digital advertising revenue is not going to save your bottom line. It's not going to save your bottom line. I'm referring to the online banners, all those banners ads, right? So if you look in terms of North America, same thing. Mature markets like North America, Canada, and US, right? Digital contributes less than 15, right? 15 billion USD. If you look at the print itself, right, it's more than 70 billion US. How many times is that? 6 times more, right? And over the next 5 years. So newspaper print revenue will not go away, and it still is going to be the mainstay for your bottom line. Yeah? If you look at the Middle East, same thing, right? It's sliding, but it's not sliding as much as the North America. Digital still contribute a very low level of contribution. If you look at Latin America, right? Print is actually going up, right? Because the cost of devices, tablets, mobile phones, the cost of entry is still very high. It's still high. Unlike in Malaysia, I just bought a phone for my Filipino mate. Now they cost a lot of money, right? 299 ringgit for a smartphone. Got LTE also. Wow, good value. It's, by the way, I'm not doing promotion for Samsung. It's Samsung V Plus. Just launched in July. $299 only. So accessible. The internet is so accessible. But the cost of internet broadband is still very high. Do you agree? Yeah? You need to write down, get the telcos to lower down the price a bit. Right? Because in the region, we still are paying the highest mobile internet costs. That's why e-paper don't work. It's not because the content is not there. People just can't afford to wait for it to pushing, and download. Hey, a lot of money, you know. Each issue I got to pushing. Every day I got to pushing. It's because our mobile internet data line is expensive, right? And that's why e-paper don't work. It's not because of content. It is because of mobile. So if you look in terms of Asia Pacific, which is closest to where we are, print revenue, advertising revenue still is increasing, yes, at a slower rate, right? And I believe if we will evolve and embrace that change from a content marketing point of view, right, digital content marketing point of view, we will gain momentum even stronger, right? Going to right the core of our business, which is basically print. So if you look at Malaysia itself, it's undisputable, right? That this is not from Nielsen, this is from Price Waterhouse, right? It's increasing at 2.1%, hovering over 1.6 billion USD. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the fact. If you question this fact, go and call PwC. Okay? I'm just bringing that report to you. So don't kill the messenger, right? All right. So if you look at that, whilst people are not spending a lot of money, advertisers are not spending a lot of money into online advertising, right? Consumers are spending a lot of money on e-commerce. You're buying stuff a lot of e-commerce, right? Like since you had Lock On, right? Star property eventually may evolve. I'm just saying, right? Where you can even buy houses online. What stops you from being a property mall, right? So e-commerce is a main thing, right? It's a main activity in Asia. If you look in terms of, like, for example, emerging markets like Vietnam is going crazy with e-commerce, right? Because in today's tough economic climate, what does consumer want? Value, cheaper things. Sometimes things that they cannot buy in Malaysia, right? And the best part, when you buy from overseas, maybe there's no 6% GST. Maybe, right? Yeah, maybe, right? Okay? So we got to focus as a newspaper company where we help a lot of brands, right? We help a lot of retailers, a lot of merchants, right? To sell. You know, every day I turn, I see a lot of telco ads, I see a lot of hypermarket ads, right? And consumers are looking at you in terms of giving them value. Which is the cheapest ikan sardine, for example? I'm just making this up. But the point is that why not we move into e-commerce, right? And create this consumer revenue. Why not create an e-mall? Right? I know Kumpulan Karakaf has an e-magazine mall, right? People buy magazines and books from their e-mall. It's a good way to move forward. Okay? So in 1990, in early 1990, you can see that this clicker changes the whole marketing landscape, which affected, right? Which affected your business. I give you an example. When you charge your clients for an advertisement, you know that rectangle box in your paper, right? Sometimes you put color, sometimes you put spot color, and sometimes you charge clients when you put in page 3, front half right, loading, you know, hopefully that you catch the readers, right? The possibility of that. You know what Google does? Through their classified ads, I remember when I first started buying advertising space from Giam. That was during the Malay media days, where I was a media buyer. You know, I buy those run-on ads, those room for sale, room for let, house for sale. I started off with that. Then over the years, I see the classified business, which forms the large amount of your revenue, has moved to, right, all those online listing classified companies, right? So if you look at the click itself, Google has introduced this new way of buying advertisement. It says to advertisers, when people see your ad, they tell advertisers, when they see your ad, you don't have to pay. Wow, can one? Can I see your ad, my ad in your newspaper and don't pay? Cannot. But Google say can. Google says when only your consumer click on your ad, you pay. That's what they have introduced a new currency called CPC. It stands for cost per click. Right? And the thing is that from an advertising rate card point of view, the way you value your readers is what I call a linear way of valuation. Right? It's all dependable on the level of your readership. Right? Any media planner worth its salt will say, what is your readership? That's the first thing they ask you, right? What's your readership? They use the readership number divided by the cost per advertisement. It comes out with cost to reach 1,000 people, CPM. Okay? So I don't want to give you all this theoretical stuff. But the point I'm saying is that today, with the click, it has changes the way people sell advertising. And Google today is the largest media company in the whole wide world. US 55 billion. That's their turnover. And you know what? They don't even give media agencies 15% agency commission. How to sell? They don't even need to sell. Right? So we need to look at the business model. So if you look at that, Google is actually taking a lot of your money away. Right? And they don't even produce content, by the way. They don't. They just aggregate and provide content that is relevant to the searcher. So with the advent of click, it has really empowered the e-commerce players. Because e-commerce, from barcode, now they can know what is called the web click analytics. They know exactly where you came from, which product you buy, and they remember because you drop everything in where? Shopping cart. My wife recently was planning a trip for our year-end holiday to Vietnam. And she went to this hotel website and was making inquiry. But she didn't push the confirm purchase button, right? And know what? Thereafter, every day she received an email, right? Where you left off. And give them offer. Maybe you think it's expensive, we'll give you this special offer to you. The promotion followed her to the point she said, okay lah, I subscribe. That's the power of the click, because behind the click button, right, the engine remembers every details about what you have done on the websites, right? When a person clicks, means that I have the intention. That's the power. Let's look at China. The success story of Jack Ma, Alibaba, right? Who knows Jack Ma here? Or maybe easier, who don't know Jack Ma here? Everybody knows, right? Jack Ma. But Jack Ma, being so successful in their e-commerce, still rely. Jack Ma is a pure play e-commerce. That means they got no bricks, they got no mortar. But you are a brick and mortar company, right? You got substance. Even that, Alibaba recognized that whilst they focus in terms of bringing the products to the consumers in a very easy way at the desktop, just select and put in the cart, but they realized that they need fulfillment. They recently just took a big stake in a Chinese logistic company. Why am I telling you this? What I'm saying here today, do not feel threatened by a pure play e-commerce player. Do not feel threatened by pure play online news portal. Because in reality, you still need the physical world. right? In reality, you still need the physical world. And today, a lot of brick-and-mortar companies are moving successfully towards e-commerce. And those are the companies with fundamentals. That's why Patrick Grove properties quickly sell, right? Because you know in the long term, the space is going to be very competitive. And the space, you still need a brick-and-mortar business. And this is where you stand. Spotify, Shopify. We got Spotify, this is Shopify, right? Even Shopify, right, provides the interface for people to buy stuff, right? And remember what people buys. But the things that the last earning report in quarter 3, 2015, it says that the mix between consumer revenue and merchant revenue, right, in our case will be consumer and advertiser, is that a lot of investors are saying they put more premium and value into what you call the consumer money, which is basically the subscription solution from the consumers rather than merchants. Right? So parallelly, if you look at this business model, newspaper business should focus on consumer revenue rather than just relying totally on the advertising revenue. So we need to go beyond the advertising revenue. Okay? That's the point that I'm raising. So I must ask for your forgiveness. It's not very clear, but I will share with you this slide because this was a screenshot from this social e-commerce that I wanted to share with you. So this infographics, right, shows basically that which social media platform drives the most sales. And today, there's so many social media platforms that drives sales, right? That enable people to purchase stuff, right? Because we always like to look at what our friends are buying, right? Keeping up with the Joneses, right? So the thing is that if you look at Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Google, LinkedIn, Instagram, Reddit, YouTube, YouTube also can sell stuff. You know how YouTube sells stuff? They call it the opening box. Right? They will do an opening box. Somebody will buy this product. They will open up the box. They will show you from step to step, from opening the box right up to how to use the product. This is what they call product review. But it's fun. It's shown in a YouTube. So can you do that? You can do the same thing. So WeMore, then you have basically the rest of it. So, but out of all the social media platform, the one that drives the most sales, according to Shopify, is Facebook. About 63% of Shopify sales comes from Facebook. So we talk about a lot about social media marketing, right, today, right? So what is really social media marketing today? And do we make money out from social media marketing? No, right? Client can even come up with their own Facebook page, right? Why do they need you to do that? But if you angle it from the e-commerce mindset, right, to utilizing social media like Facebook, then I think you have a business plan, right? Do you have a business plan? Because you can proof off your content in the Facebook environment and facilitate sales. That's what I'm trying to say, okay? So 63% comes from Facebook. And Facebook is really trending up. And what kind of content or stuff that people buy from Facebook? Interestingly, photography, right? It's about 93% photography, right? Followed by sports and equipments, 94% also. And then you have pet supply. Pet supply. People buy stuff for their pet. People love their pets, right? Nirvana Memorial also got a pet memorial park for dogs and cats. You see, the consumers today love their pets. So can we have more content about pets, how to take care of the pets, how what's best for the pets, right? Other stuff like, for example, jewelry, right? Clothing and apparels, the Zaloras and all this, right?